been trying hard to polish up our Hitler by struggling through that turgid book Mein Kampf. We have waded through his views on encirclement and Jews till our brows with perspiration are quite damp. For we are told to know our enemies, a motto, which the prudent soldier always bears in mind. But we'd feel a little surer that we really knew our Führer if the answer to these problems we could find. So, does Adolf wear pajamas or a nightshirt? Does he take his teeth out when he goes to bed? Is that unruly lock of hair a detachable affair, which he hangs up on the bedpost overhead? He looks so big and fierce in all his war paint, but when once he's hung his raincoat on the door and removed that awful tunic that cost 50 bob in Munich, there's a very little Nazi in the roar. So, his moustache, I wonder if it's really pucker, or neatly made to clip on to the face. Does he shelter from the bombs in potato fibre comms with swastikas embroidered on the base? As the Führer nears the climax of his striptease, does each SS man avert his blushing head till he lies there gently smiling, and they exit backwards, hiling? For a very little Nazi safe in bed. So, I wonder what he thinks of in the night time. Does Goering, just to make him feel at home, in a merry widow dress, do a waltz with Rudolf Hess, accompanied by Goebbels on a comb? And when all attempts at slumber prove abortive, does he count the Nazi party or just sheep? No more thoughts of war or shooting, in repose, but still saluting. A very little Nazi's fast asleep. Rockabye Hitler, here's Ribbentrop. He's ready to wake you when the bombs drop. Gotcha. Hello, folks. This is Tommy Handley giving you some Handley household hints on blowouts for blackouts. In other words, what to cook in a crisis. The answer is, don't cook anything in a crisis, cook it in a saucepan. Now, having got your saucepan, what are you going to cook in it, you ask yourselves? Have you answered yourselves? You have? You must have had onions. I won't repeat that. Now, here is a menu for a simple little dinner for 40 oms or H of O, which any housewife can easily run up in a few minutes on her own machine. What's more, it's a topical menu, and here it is. Have your paper and pencils ready, please. Soup course, thick and clear. ARP soup, very thick. Minestrone of information, not so clear. Fish, billeted plaice, served with brown paper parsley sauce. Joint, roast saddle of mechanized horse with Sam Brown gravy. And it is wise to have a choice of puddings. Black puddings with dimmed lights and Reich pudding. Now, for the end of the meal, one should serve a nice hot cup of Mein Kampf coffee without any grounds whatsoever. This is guaranteed not to keep anybody awake at night. Aha! Now, many people prefer a bird instead of a joint. I do myself. And nothing will go further than gander. Propaganda served with dictators and lots of apple sauce. Now, while on the subject of food, perhaps some of you may like to hear my household hints on what to lay in, bearing in mind that most of your evening meals will be in the dark. Black coffee, black treacle, the dark meat of poultry and game, pickled walnuts and burnt toast should be avoided. They're so difficult to see in a blackout. Concentrate on the light-colored foods, such as white of an egg or lights or celery. Even these are difficult enough to eat in the present circumstances, but I have evolved two methods for your assistance. The first is to paint your mouth with luminous paint, thus making the insertion of food child's play. And the second is to apply the luminous paint to the food. This obviates the necessity for dark curtains and makes the food taste frightful. There is, of course, a third way, and that is to live entirely on fresh herrings. These being naturally luminous, they glow in the dark, you see, and they provide you with a wonderfully light meal. Now, a few hints for those who may, at one time or another, be obliged to eat with a gas mask on. There are very few foods suitable for this purpose. Perhaps the best is spaghetti. This can be threaded a piece at a time through the holes in the front of the gas mask. Care should be taken, however, to leave one length until the end of the meal, as this is useful for sucking beer or tea through. Some people have got over the difficulty by growing a crop of mustard and cress on the interior of the gas mask, thus providing them with a handy vegetarian meal. The same method can be followed with mushrooms, which rapidly ripen in the dark, but are difficult to peel with the teeth. On the whole, the safest food when wearing a gas mask is the onion, as this need not be eaten at all, but is simply inhaled. And don't forget, folks, it also acts as a decontaminator. So put a penny in the shallot and see how it works. And now, so long, I'm just going off with the rest of the lads to cook Hitler's goose for him.
Das Schapperuf einsteigen. A la Kenia, a la Cunia.
In other words, ta-ta.